I'm James Sinkinson with your 5 minutes of truth about Israel. This episode is about how American media are hiding the truth about UNRWA, the UN's agency responsible for so-called Palestinian refugees. UNRWA was set up to help refugees from 75 years ago, from Israel's war of independence against Arab invaders. Unfortunately, UNRWA has only served to keep millions of Palestinians living in welfare conditions with the hope they will someday destroy Israel. The latest controversy arises because during Israel's war against Hamas in Gaza, Israeli intelligence has revealed that more than 450 Hamas terrorists are employees of UNRWA. Before that, the Israeli army discovered dozens of UNRWA facilities that house Hamas headquarters, weapons, and secret tunnel entrances. Israel has identified a dozen Hamas members who work as school principals and teachers for UNRWA, as well as 19 UNRWA workers who took part in Hamas's October 7th massacre. Israel estimates that as many as 6,000 UNRWA employees are affiliated with Hamas through family connections. These shocking discoveries of Hamas's infiltration into this UN agency caused many UNRWA donors, like the US, Germany, France, and Great Britain, to cut off the agency's funding. To stem this outflow of hundreds of millions of donor dollars, the UN launched a probe of the organization. No surprise, despite volumes of evidence provided to the UN by Israel proving the Hamas-UNRWA collaboration, the UN's investigation amazingly found no connection between the two groups. Even worse than the UN's bogus findings, many major US media have joined the cover-up and are trying to blame Israel for lying. NPR, for example, ran a headline claiming that Israel is spreading false information about UNRWA. A few months ago, the New York Times parroted the bogus claims of an independent review that exonerated UNRWA of ties to Hamas, with the headline, "Israel hasn't offered evidence tying many UN workers to Hamas, review says." What NPR and the New York Times neglect to tell you is that the entire probe was a setup. They didn't mention that the investigation was launched by UN Chief Antonio Guterres, who calls UNRWA a lifeline of hope and dignity, or that the probe was headed by a former French foreign minister who approved funding for UNRWA to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars, or that the three main investigators for the probe were bureaucrats who have all issued strident anti-Israel condemnations. Major media also didn't report that the UN investigation did not even take place in Gaza, and shockingly, did not even have the mandate to investigate Hamas members among UNRWA staff. Finally, the news reports did not mention a UN spokesperson's admission that the probe's real purpose was to, quote, provide the donors with further cover to resume funding for UNRWA. In other words, the UN's bogus investigation was designed specifically to prove UNRWA's innocence in order to protect its funding. Indeed, as of today, almost all European nations have restored their huge donations to UNRWA. If you've been reading the news, you know that Israel has found and distributed dozens of photos of Hamas offices, tunnels, missile launchers, and even a giant server farm directly under UNRWA facilities. With a straight face, UNRWA still claims they never knew about any of it. Just last August, Israel bombed a meeting of Hamas leaders in a Gaza school, killing 9 terrorists, including 3 UNRWA employees. That's right, 1/3 of the Hamas meeting members were on the UNRWA payroll. Yet the UN still refuses to clean house and fire the terrorists on their staff. Worst of all, the media publish UNRWA's lies and actually accuse Israel of false claims. But ultimately, it's no wonder. The media have every reason to protect their newsroom's false narrative that UNRWA is a humanitarian organization serving desperate, innocent Palestinians in the face of Israel's colonial aggression. They're also afraid that if American voters knew the truth about UNRWA, they would demand the U.S. stop funding this corrupt agency with millions of taxpayer dollars. But here's good news. Israel's government just passed a law prohibiting UNRWA from operating on Israeli soil. Even better news, it's very likely that President Trump will again eliminate U.S. funding of UNRWA, which the Biden administration restored in 2021. My friend, thanks for tuning in to 5 Minutes of Truth About Israel from Flame, facts and logic about the Middle East. If you want more factual truth about Israel, subscribe below or visit Flame's website at www.factsandlogic.org. Remember, keep the flame burning and keep telling the truth.